Hey there. Okay. Um, so you should be able to see what I'm doing here. Let me make it bigger. So this is about 3.1. And so let's jump right into it. So this is a weird one because you're trying to make something worse rather than better. But the main idea here is what we're doing is our ultimate goal is to write sentences that are clear and easily understandable while still conveying the information. And the main idea that we're getting in this chapter is the idea that you want strong actions in your sentences. And this sentence starts out with strong actions. So I've highlighted the 5 verbs. Whoops, there's one more. That were in the book, right? So you should be on. You can be following along. If you want to pause for a moment and follow along on page. Well, actually, what you want to do is you want to open up the exercise, right? And you might want to open up the exercise and your book. Okay, so pause and then do that. Okay, so although the governor knew that the cities needed more money for schools, she vetoed a bigger education budget to encourage the cities to increase their local taxes. That's a really clear sentence. It's got all those strong verbs: new, needed, vetoed, encourage, and increase. Now, what it did in the book, whoops, I don't want that right now. Oh well, not sure what's going on here. Hopefully this turns out. So we have new, needed, vetoed. By the way, if you're still kind of shaky on verbs, verbs are the words that can change tense. Okay, that's the way. I know you've heard that they're they show actions, and they often do. But there's other way. It's a little more. I think a better way to understand verbs is they're words that can change tense. So new is like the past tense of no, needed is the past tense of need, vetoed is the past tense of veto. Encourage and increase are both what we call infinitives because they have that to in front of them. An infinitive, in a sense, it's tenseless. It means anytime. That's why they call it infinitive. But you can see how they could go tense. Encouraged, increased, or will increase, and so forth. So those are verbs that can do that thing. But we can turn in English, with in other languages too. But English is really easy to turn words into verbs. But what is a noun that's tied to that? So the noun that goes with new is knowledge, and the instructions in the book showed you this. It looked like some of you tried to do the exercise without really reading the assigned pages, and then without reading the exercise carefully. So you need to do that because a lot of the information you need is right there, and you're going to do a better job, and you're going to understand what you're doing better. So need here, the thing is here that the noun for need is the same, need. The way you can tell it's a noun is if you can put the or in front of it. So we can say the need, and that makes sense, right? You might notice that so we'll stop there. Vetoed I'll get into that habit. The knowledge. So we see that knowledge is the noun form of the verb veto, or you turning it into a noun. The encouragement. If you're not used to doing this, this may be a bit of a struggle. By the way, you can find this in the dictionary. If you go in a dictionary, it will show you. I believe it will. I ought to double check that, but it'll show you the noun forms and verb forms, how these words are related. I'm going to double check that, but yeah, I think they do. Okay, the increase. Again, this is a word where the verb and the noun are the same. To increase, the increase. Let me show you how you can put these infinitives, quit that into infinitives, right? To increase, to encourage. So if you can put to in front of it like that, that usually means it's a verb. You can also put to in front of other words, actually, but so don't. That's okay. So there. So now the goal is, what we want to do is we want to put these words on the right here into the sentence to try to make it a worse sentence. Now the reason we're making it worse is to show, again, just to learn the relationship between these nouns and verbs, because that's going to be key to going in the other direction, and just learning to manipulate sentences, to take sentences and change them around. So now the goal is to try to write a sentence that means the same thing. So I'm going to do this now. Although the governor, and then you've got to kind of find a way to say the same thing but use a noun. And so let's say I'm pretty good at this, so I'll do it quicker. I know it's going to take you longer, but just to show you how it works. Although the governor has knowledge that the cities have a need for more money for schools, and then we got to come up with a way of saying it. I don't know, delivered, exercised, I don't know, let's say exercised her veto of a bigger education budget. And you might go, but that's a horrible sentence. Exactly, that's the whole point. Education budget as an encouragement. See how I did that? I turned it into a verb. A noun. As an encouragement to the cities to, now what am I going to do? Again, I have to come up with maybe another, to implement an increase in their local taxes. Yeah, I did that pretty quickly, but it would take most of you longer, but you have to struggle, that's all right. You struggle around until you find a way to do it, and that's also why you're watching me do it, so you can see the kind of thing that you're aiming to do. So there we go. We have the knowledge, a need, the veto or her veto, and encouragement, and increase. So now we can see new went to knowledge, needed went to need, vetoed went to the veto, encouraged went to the encouragement, and increase went to an increase. And notice how it still means the same thing. Although the governor has knowledge that the cities have a need for more money, she exercised her veto of a bigger budget as an encouragement to cities to implement an increase in their taxes. And just to show you, here is one of your classmates' version. Let's see how close it is to mine. Actually, here's a couple. Whoops, I didn't mean for you to see the name. Try to keep that honest. Let's see, let me see if I did it the same way I did a year ago or last year. So there, all had knowledge of the city's need for more money. She initiated, wow, okay, so there I said initiated a veto of a proposed education budget to provide, see, I did it differently, right? So there's always more than one way to provide encouragement among the cities, to the city, for an increase instead of to implement, an increase in their local taxes. And then here's a couple of how a couple of students did it. This is one that I just read today down here. Although there was knowledge that there was a need for more money for schools, she issued the veto for a bigger education budget in hopes this would provide the encouragement the cities require to start the increase. Good. Knowledge, need, the veto, the encouragement, the increase. Good. The only thing I'd say here is we could see, although the governor had knowledge, to get that idea of who we're talking about, we need the governor. Okay, although the governor had knowledge. So that's how that works, okay? Let me pause, and I'm going to come back to you in a second with a little bit more to say.